Hey folks, good morning. Today, before we get started, I'd like for you to do a do now. This do now is going to be found on page 438. And I want you to do the get ready for the lesson. Again, that is page 438. Get ready for the lesson. Alright, let's pause that video right now so that you guys can have time to finish it. Alright, so let's take a look at the first example. Alright, so let's read it. It says, the manager of a local cell phone company wants to conduct a survey and determine what kind of musical ringtones people typically use. Alright, suppose you decide to survey the listeners of a rock radio station. Do you think results would represent the entire population and explain? So let's read the question again. The manager of a local cell phone company wants to conduct a survey to determine what kind of musical ringtones people typically use. Alright, so they want to figure out what people really use in real life in the whole world. So they decide to survey listeners at a rock radio station. That is not going to represent the entire population because not everybody listens to rock. Your answers may vary in this area, but the reason why this would not be good results or results that would represent the entire population is because everybody doesn't even have access to a radio as well. You can think of probably other solutions that probably work as well, but these are just examples I can think of right now. Let's look at question 2. It says, suppose she decides to survey a group of people standing in line for a symphony. Do you think the results will represent the entire population? Explain. Again, we're thinking of the entire population, so the entire world or the entire amount of people that actually have cell phones. Like, that's the population. No. This will not work because people standing in a line for a symphony. Not everybody has the opportunity to even pay to go to the symphony. Not even everybody wants to go to the symphony. I like the symphony, but not everybody likes the symphony. So everybody won't have the equal opportunity to go. So the answer would be no, and it would not represent the entire population. And let's take a look at what kind of music they want to survey. It says, what kind of ringtone do you use? Classical rock, rap, hip-hop, dance, and others. So this includes a plethora of people. The other will give way to all of the other genres that weren't mentioned. Let's look at the final question. It says, suppose she decides to mail a survey to every 100th household in the area. Do you think the results will represent the entire population? Well, the entire population this will be a little bit better here because it says a local cell phone company. Our population in this particular case would be those people in the local area because it's a local cell phone company. That's who they want to find out who listens to that kind of music. So this one actually would give every person in the entire population a chance to be surveyed. So I would say yes in this sample. So today, this is kind of what we're going to be talking about. This is going to be really just basically mind work. It's not really going to be calculations made, but it's going to be kind of like mind work. So at this point, I'd like for you to take out your notes. Alright, so we're going to title this sampling. Alright, a couple of little words we have to get used to, a couple of terms. The first term is going to be population. Population is who you like to survey or who you want to know about. or who you want to know about. Better to say who you want information about. Now, it's not always easy to survey an entire population. So what they usually do is get a sample. So let's get the definition for sample. All right, so sample is a smaller group that can represent the population. A smaller group that can represent the population. Alright, so in order for you to do a proper survey, you want to make sure that you have unbiased an unbiased sample. So what does that mean to be unbiased? Well, unbiased means that everybody gets the opportunity to be chosen. So I want you to get an example of what an unbiased sample is. Well, let's get the definition first. So here we go. In an unbiased sample, everyone in the population has an opportunity to be chosen to participate. So for it to be unbiased, everybody should have the opportunity to be able to participate. For example, if I decided to use you all as the population and I put everybody's name inside of a hat and I picked a name without looking, that is considered an unbiased sample. Alright, so then that brings us to bias. A bias sample favors one group over another. So you can think of that as like favoritism. Somebody getting more of an opportunity than you. For example, if I wanted to like give out candy, but I always chose to give it to a certain group first, that means that I was being very biased with the way that I chose to disperse my candy. That's the only example I could think of right off the top of my head. Now it's time to give you a couple of examples of bias examples. Alright, so these are examples for bias examples. Use that B. Alright, so here's one example. We have the convenience sample. Alright, so for convenience, it's just kind of what it means. I ask these people because they're convenient. If I wanted to know about young people and I decided to just use the people at Excellence Christian School, even though Excellence Christian School gives me a kind of young people, that doesn't represent the entire world's young people. And I say that because I'm only using Excellence Christian School because I work there. I'm not going out to find other people. So a convenience example is people chosen
because of easy access. People chosen because of easy access. This is not a proper way to choose a sample. Like if you wanted to do an official survey, this is not a good way to survey people just based on convenience. Next one, voluntary response sample. This is if I ask the question and then people just kind of like raise their hand to give me their opinion. This is voluntary because they are deciding to do it. They're volunteering to participate. Or if I say, who wants to help me with this? And because of those people wanted to help me, that would not give me a proper sampling. Again, just because they want to help me doesn't mean that I'll get a true representation of the entire population. So this right here involves people who are willing to participate. Again, this is not good sampling because everybody in the world doesn't get the opportunity, or everybody in my desired population does not get the opportunity to participate. They just volunteered. Okay, so let's get down to business because this is all you're going to be doing today. Let's take a look at our book. All right, go to page 439 if you're not already there. And let's look at the first example. It says determine whether each conclusion is valid. Justify your answer. It says, to determine what kind of movies people like to watch, every 10th person who walks into a video rental store is surveyed. The store carries all kinds of movies. Out of 180 customers surveyed, 62 stated that they prefer action. The store manager concludes that about a third of all customers prefer action movies. Is this conclusion valid? Well, according to this, it says the conclusion is valid since the population is every 10th customer of a video rental store. The sample is an unbiased random sample. This one is unbiased. I will agree with that. It's very unbiased because they didn't decide, okay, I'm just going to ask the first 10 people. They are choosing every 10th person out of 180 people. So we don't know who those people are. So every person got an opportunity to be chosen as long as they were the 10th. Let's look at the other one, the next one. It says a television program asks viewers to visit a website to indicate their preference for two presidential candidates. 76% of the viewers who responded preferred candidate A. So the television program announced that most people prefer candidate A. Let's take a look at this. This is only coming from a television program that is on a website. So that's an issue that should say red alert. It says the conclusion is not valid. The population is restricted to viewers who have internet access. It is a voluntary response sample and is biased. This is very voluntary. I'll just tell you that because these people have to be willing to participate. They got to be willing to go to the website. And the results of a voluntary response sample do not necessarily represent the entire population. All right, so I want you guys to look at the check your progress. And you don't have to write down your answer, but just remember your answer. And I want you guys to discuss it as a class. Miss Penn, I'd like for you to pause the video and just kind of you all discuss it after everybody has been given the chance to read it to themselves. And then you all discuss. So let's take about 5 minutes to read and discuss.